My son's voice trembled as he stood before a crowd, confessing his betrayal. "Mom, I'm sorry." I, Evelyn Harper, a retired lawyer, faced him down, not as the mother he abandoned, but as a woman reborn from his cruelty. He stole my $800,000 savings, left me in a nursing home, and called me a burden. That moment of his regret, my triumph, is where this story peaks. But how did I turn his lies into my legacy? This isn't just a tale of revenge. It's a fire forged from pain, a fight for justice that rebuilt me. Stick around to see how I made him pay, not just with money, but with truth. Subscribe to catch every twist of this saga, and let me know in the comments where you're watching from and when. You won't believe how far this mother went to reclaim her worth. I am Evelyn Harper, 62 years old, a retired real estate lawyer who spent 3 decades battling developers in Cleveland's unforgiving courtrooms. A widow, a mother, a woman who thought she'd carved out a life of meaning until it shattered like glass under a hammer. I'm sitting on a sagging mattress in a nursing home that reeks of bleach and despair, the kind of place where dreams come to die. The linoleum floor is scuffed, stained with years of neglect, and the walls seem to lean inward, suffocating. Outside, Cleveland's autumn rain lashes the smudged window, each drop a mirror of the tears I can't shed anymore. My son Ethan, the boy I loved with every fiber of my being, has betrayed me in a way I never imagined possible, stealing my $800,000 savings and abandoning me here like discarded luggage. Ethan was my everything. After my husband, Tom, died in a car accident when Ethan was 10, it was just the two of us against the world. I poured my soul into raising him, working late nights at the law firm, drafting contracts under flickering desk lamps to pay for his school, his soccer gear, his future. He was my joy, my reason to keep going. I can still see him at 8, bursting through our front door, his small hands clutching daisies he'd plucked from Mrs. Larson's garden, his grin wide as he shouted, "Happy birthday, Mom!" The neighbors laughed it off, but to me, those stolen flowers were a treasure, proof of his love. At 19, he sent me a letter from college, his handwriting messy but heartfelt, thanking me for covering his tuition, promising he'd make me proud. I kept that letter in my nightstand, rereading it until the edges frayed, each word a lifeline to my heart. I loved him so fiercely it was like breathing, a love that carried me through every sacrifice, every lonely night. When Ethan launched Harper Realty, his own real estate brokerage, I saw my boy chasing the stars. Last spring, he came to me, his eyes alight with ambition, sitting behind a sleek glass desk in his downtown office, the Cleveland skyline glittering through the window. "Mom, I need your help to make this big," he said, his voice smooth, confident, so like Tom's. He slid a contract across the desk, proposing I invest my $800,000 retirement savings into his company. He promised profits, a legacy we'd build together, a future where we'd both thrive. I trusted him. The boy who'd once sobbed in my arms when his pet hamster died, who'd clung to me at Tom's funeral, promising we'd always have each other. My lawyer's instincts, honed over years of spotting bad deals, were silenced by a mother's faith. I signed the papers without reading the fine print, believing we were creating something eternal. But last week, my world collapsed. Ethan picked me up in his polished SUV, the leather seats smelling of new money, the city's gray streets blurring past. I thought we were going to lunch, maybe to talk about the business, share a laugh like we used to. Instead, he drove me to this godforsaken nursing home on Cleveland's outskirts, where the air feels heavy with defeat. He handed me a suitcase, his face cold, unrecognizable, no trace of the boy who'd once brought me daisies. "You're too old to keep up, Mom," he said, his voice sharp as a blade. "You're a burden now." A burden. The word hit like a sledgehammer, splintering my heart into pieces. I stood in the lobby, the fluorescent lights buzzing like a swarm of wasps, and asked about my money, my voice trembling. His eyes turned to ice. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be," he snapped, then turned and walked out, his footsteps echoing on the linoleum, fading into silence. I'm clutching that college letter now, its paper worn thin, his promises smudged by time, and my own fingers tracing the words. This room is a tomb, the walls pressing in with every creak of the old building. I see Ethan's face in my mind, his smile at his high school graduation, me cheering until my throat was raw, my heart swelling with pride. I see the nights I stayed up drafting legal briefs so he could have a better life, the mornings I woke early to make his favorite pancakes. And then I hear his voice again, cold and cruel, calling me a burden, dismissing me like I was nothing. My chest burns, a raw, searing pain, as if someone's ripped my heart out and left it bleeding on this cheap mattress. I gave him everything, my career, my savings, my soul, and he locked me away like garbage, stealing my life's work to fund his own. I shuffle to the window, my reflection faint in the rain-streaked glass. My hair is grayer now, my face etched with lines, but my eyes, they burn with something fierce, something alive. I've spent 30 years fighting battles in court, outsmarting men who thought they could break me. I raised a son alone, built a life from grit and love, and survived a husband's death. Ethan's betrayal is a wound, deep and jagged, but it hasn't killed me. It's woken me. The pain is still there, a knife twisting with every memory of his cold words. But beneath it, a spark ignites, anger, hot and unyielding. I press my palm against the cold glass, my breath fogging the pain. "I'm Evelyn Harper," I whisper, my voice shaky but resolute, "and I'll take back what's mine." The rain keeps falling, but inside me, a fire starts to burn. This isn't my end. It's the beginning of my fight, and Ethan will learn what happens when you betray the woman who made you. The rain hasn't stopped, a ceaseless drumbeat against the nursing home's grimy window, each drop echoing the pulse of my growing anger. I'm still trapped in this suffocating room, the air thick with bleach and the weight of Ethan's betrayal, stealing my $800,000, calling me a burden, abandoning me here like a forgotten relic. Last night's vow, "I'll take back what's mine," burns brighter than the pain, a fire kindling in my chest. The nursing home's linoleum creaks under my feet as I pace, the frayed college letter from Ethan clutched in my hand, its promises now a bitter mockery. I'm not the broken mother he left behind. I'm the lawyer who made Cleveland's developers tremble, and that woman is waking up. I close my eyes, and I'm back in Ethan's office last spring, the glass desk gleaming under harsh fluorescent lights, the Cleveland skyline a glittering backdrop. His smile was so confident, so like Tom's, as he slid that contract toward me, promising profits, a legacy. I signed it, blinded by love for the boy who'd brought me daisies, who'd sobbed in my arms when his hamster died. But now, my lawyer's instincts claw their way to the surface, sharp and unrelenting. I replay every moment, the contract's fine print I ignored, the flicker in Ethan's eyes when I asked about returns. Something was off, a bad deal hiding in plain sight. I can feel it, like a clause buried in a contract, waiting to be weaponized. Breakfast in the nursing home's dreary cafeteria is a grim affair. Stale toast, coffee that tastes like regret, and the drone of a TV stuck on a morning talk show. That's where I meet Lily, a 25-year-old aide with a nose ring and a smirk that cuts through the gloom. She slides an extra coffee across the table, her chipped nail polish catching the dim light. "You look like you're plotting a prison break," she says, half laughing. I don't hold back. The words spill out. Ethan's betrayal, the $800,000 he stole, the nursing home he dumped me in. Her eyes narrow and she leans in. "Your kid's a real piece of shit," she says, blunt as a brick. "You gonna let him get away with it?" Her words hit like a match on dry tinder, igniting something fierce inside me. No, I'm not. Lily's more than just talk. She's a part-time paralegal, scraping by on night classes and this dead-end job, and when she hears I was a real estate lawyer, her jaw drops. "You're a legal badass stuck in this hellhole?" she says, her voice a mix of awe and defiance. "I've got a laptop and some connections. Let's fuck him up." Her fire mirrors mine, and for the first time since Ethan walked out, I feel a pulse of hope, like a heartbeat stirring in a body I thought was broken. We agree to meet after lights out, a plan forming in the shadows of this cage. That night, we huddle in my room, the laptop's blue glow casting jagged shadows on the peeling walls. The nursing home is silent except for the distant hum of a janitor's mop. I email Claire, my old colleague from the law firm, who still owes me for a zoning case we won in '98. She replies past midnight, her message crisp. "Got the contract, we'll nail him." When the PDF loads, I scan it, my heart pounding like it did in courtrooms long ago. There it is, in black and white, a clause I'd insisted on, a reflex from years of protecting clients. If the investment isn't used for Harper Realty, I can demand full repayment with interest. Ethan didn't just betray me, he breached a legally binding agreement, and I've got him. Lily's friend at the county recorder's office works fast, pulling records overnight. By dawn, we have the truth. My $800,000 didn't go to the company. Ethan used it to buy a lakefront condo in his name alone, a glass and steel tower that mocks my sacrifice. I stare at the property deed on the laptop screen, my hands shaking with rage. That little bastard thought I'd rot here and never know. I growl, my voice low but fierce. Lily grins, her eyes glinting like she's ready for a fight. "He's gonna choke on that condo, Evelyn." I think of Ethan at 16, sprawled on our couch after his first heartbreak, his voice small as he asked, "You'll always be there for me, right, Mom?" I was. I gave him my career, my savings, my everything, and he repaid me by caging me here, stealing my life's work. The love I had for him, that boundless, aching love that carried me through late nights and lonely years, isn't gone. It's transformed. It's a fire now, roaring in my veins, fueled by every memory of his betrayal. I'm not just fighting for my money. I'm fighting for the woman he thought he could erase. Cleveland's skyline looms through the window, its lights faint but stubborn against the dawn. This city, with its hard edges and unrelenting spirit, shaped me. I've won cases against men twice my size, built a life from grit and loss. Ethan's betrayal tried to break me, but it's only made me sharper. The spark in me is growing, and it's about to set his world ablaze. He stole my savings, my trust, my heart, but he won't steal my fight. The nursing home's fluorescent lights hum like a chorus of restless ghosts, their sickly glow casting shadows across my cramped room. Cleveland's dawn creeps through the rain-streaked window, painting the skyline in muted grays, but the fire Lily and I sparked last night burns brighter than ever. The contract clause we uncovered, proving Ethan misused my $800,000 for a lakefront condo, is a legal dagger in my hand. His betrayal, stealing my savings, dumping me in this shithole, calling me a burden, still cuts deep, a wound that throbs with every heartbeat. But the pain is no longer a chain. It's fuel, driving me to plan a fight he'll never see coming. I'm not just a mother scorned. I'm a lawyer who's spent decades outsmarting men like him, and I'm ready to draw blood. Last night's discovery that Ethan didn't invest my money in Harper Realty but in his own name has my mind racing like it did in my courtroom days. I see him at 10, his small hand gripping mine at Tom's funeral, his voice promising we'd always have each other. That boy is gone, replaced by a man who locked me away to hide his lies. The memory stings, but it sharpens my resolve. I pace the linoleum, its cracks mirroring the fractures in my heart, and feel the old Evelyn Harper stirring, the one who made developers sweat, who turned fine print into weapons. Ethan thought he could bury me here, but he's about to learn how dangerous a cornered lawyer can be. Lily slips into my room before breakfast, her nose ring glinting as she hands me a styrofoam cup of coffee that smells like burnt dreams. "You look like you're planning a heist," she says, her smirk a spark in this dreary place. I tell her about the clause. If Ethan misused my investment, I can demand every cent back plus interest. "That's a fucking legal nuke," she says, her eyes gleaming. "What's the play?" I lean in, my voice low, steady. "We sue him for breach of contract and fraud, but we need more dirt to make it stick." Lily nods, already typing on her phone, texting her contact at the county recorder's office. Her fire matches mine, and it feels like I've found an ally who sees me not as a victim, but as a warrior. I call Claire from the nursing home's payphone, its receiver sticky with years of desperation. Her voice crackles through, calm and cutting, like it was in '98 when we won that zoning case. "Evelyn, that clause is a slam dunk," she says. "We file for breach, fraud, and we hit his reputation where it hurts. His clients." She lays out the plan. A lawsuit to reclaim my $800,000, plus a public complaint to the Cleveland Real Estate Board to expose Ethan's shady deals. My stomach twists. I see Ethan at his high school graduation, my cheers echoing as he waved his diploma, my heart bursting with pride. Suing my own son feels like betraying that boy, but then I hear his cold voice. "You're a burden." Screw guilt. He chose this path, and I'm choosing mine. Lily's relentless, a bulldog with a laptop. By noon, she's got a lead from Mrs. Delgado, a widow who sold her house through Harper Realty. We meet her in a diner across town, the neon sign outside flickering like a dying pulse, the air thick with the scent of greasy fries and regret. Mrs. Delgado's hands shake as she slides bank statements across the table, showing Ethan pocketed $20,000 of her commission under processing fees. "He smiled like I was too old to notice," she says, her voice bitter with betrayal. Her words echo my own pain, and I feel a kinship, a shared wound. Lily's contact digs deeper, pulling emails and invoices that reveal a pattern. Ethan's been skimming client funds for months, funneling money into personal accounts. Each document is a brick in the case we're building, but also a knife to my heart. This isn't the boy who wrote thank you letters in college. This is a stranger who thought he could outsmart his mother. Back in my room, I spread the evidence across the bed, the papers crinkling under my fingers like dry leaves. Fake invoices, diverted funds, lies upon lies. They paint a picture of greed I can't unsee. I remember staying up late to help Ethan with his homework, believing he'd grow into a man who'd honor me. The pain is raw, a fist squeezing my chest, but it's matched by a fury that makes my blood sing. "He thought I'd rot here," I mutter, my voice trembling with rage. Lily, perched on the chair, nods. "Let's make him choke on that condo, Evelyn." Claire drafts the demand letter that evening, her words sharp as a guillotine. $800,000, plus interest, or we go to court. I read it under the dim glow of my bedside lamp, the nursing home's silence broken only by the distant coughs of other residents. My hands shake as I sign off, not from fear, but from the thrill of reclaiming my power. I see Ethan's smug face behind that glass desk, thinking he'd outwitted his old mother. He's about to learn I've been playing this game longer than he's been alive. Cleveland's skyline glows faintly through the window, its lights defiant against the night. This city, with its grit and unyielding heart, shaped me. I fought battles against men who underestimated me, built a life from loss. Ethan's betrayal tried to break me, but it's only made me sharper. This plan isn't just about money, it's about justice, and I'm ready to strike. The nursing home lounge is a bleak arena, its air heavy with the sour tang of stale coffee and the low buzz of a TV blaring reruns. Cleveland's morning sun struggles through cracked blinds, casting jagged shadows across the worn carpet, as if mirroring the fracture in my heart. Last night, I signed Claire's demand letter, a legal missile demanding my $800,000 back from Ethan for his fraudulent condo scam. The evidence we've gathered, Mrs. Delgado's testimony, fake invoices, proof he siphoned my savings into a lakefront tower. Burns in my mind like a loaded gun. I'm ready to fire, but nothing prepares me for the moment Ethan storms through the door, his face twisted with rage, his eyes blazing with a fury that makes him a stranger. The boy who once brought me daisies is gone, replaced by a man who thinks he can bully me into silence. He's in a tailored suit, but it's wrinkled, the cuffs frayed, as if he's been unraveling as fast as his lies. "You're suing me?" he roars, his voice ricocheting off the walls, startling an old woman in a wheelchair who spills her tea. "You're a crazy old hag, Mom. Drop this now or I swear you'll never see me again." Each word is a dagger, slicing through the memories of the son who wrote thank you letters, who promised to make me proud. I stand in the center of the lounge, my slippers rooted to the faded carpet, and feel the fire from last night's planning session roar hotter. He thinks he can scare me, lock me in this shithole, and walk away with my life savings. He's dead wrong. I square my shoulders, my voice cutting through the air like it did in courtrooms decades ago. "You think you're untouchable, Ethan," I say, calm but sharp, the lawyer in me waking fully. I pull the folded contract from my cardigan pocket, the clause circled in red like a bullseye. "You used my $800,000 to buy a condo in your name, not your company. I've got proof." His eyes flick to the paper, and for a fleeting moment, I see panic, a crack in his armor, before it's swallowed by a sneer. "I'm a CEO, Mom," he spits, stepping closer, his breath hot. "You're nothing but a washed-up lawyer rotting in a nursing home. You can't win this." His words are a punch to the gut, but they don't break me. I see him now, not my sweet boy, but a man who stole my heart and my savings. I step forward, closing the gap, my gaze locked on his. "You made a mistake, Ethan," I say, my voice low, lethal. "You forgot who taught you how to play this game." I hold up the contract, pointing to the clause that damns him. Misuse of funds means I get every cent back, with interest. His jaw tightens, his hands clenching, but he doesn't back down. "You're pathetic," he snarls, leaning in so close I can smell his cologne, the same one he wore at his college graduation when I cheered until my voice gave out. "Keep digging, and I'll make sure you're stuck here forever." The threat lands like a whip, and for a moment I'm back in our old kitchen, Ethan at 16, crying after a breakup, asking, "You'll always have my back, right, Mom?" I did. I gave him everything, my career, my savings, my soul. And now he's threatening to bury me alive. The pain is a live wire sparking through my chest, but it fuels me. I don't flinch. "You thought I'd rot here, Ethan," I say, my voice steady, cutting. "But I've been fighting battles since before you were born." His eyes narrow, but he doesn't speak. I see the boy I loved fading behind this greedy stranger, and it hurts. God, it hurts, but I'm not backing down. I'm not the mother who weeps over a frayed letter anymore. I'm Evelyn Harper, and I've faced worse than a spoiled CEO who thinks he's outsmarted me. That night, I sit with Lily in my room, the laptop's blue glow painting her face in sharp angles. She's been digging relentlessly and hands me a USB drive stuffed with more evidence. Emails where Ethan bragged about flipping client funds, records of diverted commissions, lies layered on lies. "This'll fuck him up good," she says, her grin fierce as she leans back in the chair. I nod, my heart pounding, and draft an email to the Cleveland Real Estate Board, attaching the evidence anonymously. It's a move I learned in courtrooms. Hit where it hurts, and hit hard. By morning, the board will launch an investigation into Harper Realty. Clients will pull out, whispers of fraud will spread like wildfire, and Ethan's empire will start to crack. As I hit send, the nursing home's silence presses in, broken only by the distant creak of a walker in the hall. I think of Ethan's office, that sleek glass desk where he betrayed me, and imagine it empty, his world crumbling under the weight of his own lies. The pain of his words, "Crazy old hag," still burns, but it's drowned by a surge of power, a thrill I haven't felt since my courtroom days. I see Cleveland's skyline through the window, its lights sharp against the night, a city that forged me in its grit. I fought battles against men who underestimated me, raised a son through grief and struggle, and built a life from nothing. Ethan thought he could erase me, steal my savings, and lock me away. He's about to learn what happens when you cross a woman with nothing left to lose. This confrontation isn't the end. It's the moment I take back my fight, and I'm just getting started. The email I sent to the Cleveland Real Estate Board last night, loaded with evidence of Ethan's fraud, fake invoices, Mrs. Delgado's testimony, proof he diverted my $800,000 to a lakefront condo, has lit a fuse. Cleveland's morning sky is a bruised purple, the drizzle soaking the nursing home's windows as I sit in the cafeteria, the air heavy with the stench of burnt toast and disinfectant. Ethan's voice from our confrontation, spitting crazy old hag, still echoes, a venom that stings but no longer paralyzes. The fire in me, fueled by his betrayal, burns hotter than ever, and I'm ready to turn it into an inferno. This isn't just about my money anymore. It's about making him face the consequences of thinking he could bury me in this hellhole. I'm stirring cold coffee when my phone vibrates, the screen flashing with a call from Mr. Harris, Ethan's top client. His voice is rough, like gravel underfoot. "Evelyn, your son's a filthy liar," he growls. He's found forged documents in his property deals, tying my stolen savings to Ethan's personal accounts, including that condo. I clutch the phone, my pulse hammering, the cafeteria's fluorescent buzz fading as fury surges through me like a tidal wave. I see Ethan at 12, sketching houses in our living room, dreaming of being an architect, his eyes bright with trust. That boy is a ghost now, replaced by a forger who didn't just rob me, but betrayed everyone who believed in him. The truth crashes over me like a storm, washing away the last threads of hope I clung to for my son. Back in my room, the evidence sprawls across my bed. Contract clauses, bank records, client complaints, a mosaic of Ethan's deceit. I could let Claire's lawsuit take its course, reclaim my $800,000, and walk away, but a deeper resolve hardens in my chest, like steel cooling after a forge. Money isn't enough. Ethan needs to feel the full weight of his actions, not just to me, but to every client he cheated. He thought he could lock me away, live large in his glass tower, and call me a burden. I'm done protecting the boy who promised to make me proud. He needs a lesson in consequences, and I'm the one to deliver it. I meet Sarah, a reporter with a nose for scandal, at a diner across town. The neon sign outside flickers, casting a red glow over the rain-slicked windows, the air thick with the smell of fried onions and desperation. I slide a manila folder across the scarred table, emails, forged contracts, proof of Ethan's crimes. "No names," I say, my voice steady despite the tempest in my heart. Sarah's eyes gleam as she scans the documents, her notebook filling with hurried scribbles. "This'll blow up," she says, barely containing her excitement. I see Ethan at his high school prom, twirling me in our backyard, laughing as I taught him to dance. Now I'm handing a stranger the match to burn his world down. The guilt claws at me, a sharp, twisting ache, but it's overpowered by a truth I can't ignore. I'm not just his mother anymore. I'm Evelyn Harper, and I'm done fading into the shadows. The article drops at dawn, its headline screaming from a newspaper on the cafeteria table. "Cleveland broker caught in fraud scandal." Ethan's face stares out, his polished smile now a mask of arrogance that makes my stomach churn. The real estate board yanks his license pending a full probe. Clients flood online forums, their posts dripping with betrayal. Hashtags like "Wani Harper scam" trending by midday. My phone pings with a voicemail from Ethan, his voice raw, pleading. "Mom, you've ruined me. Please stop this." I delete it without hesitation. I see him at 14 building a birdhouse in our garage, asking if I'd always be proud of him. I was, until he stabbed me in the back. The pain is a live coal, searing with every memory, but it's matched by a cold, unyielding certainty. I'm not here to save him anymore. Lily storms into my room that afternoon, her nose ring catching the dim light as she thrusts her phone at me. "Evelyn, you're a fucking legend," she says, showing me a barrage of online posts, clients raging, competitors pouncing on Harper Realty's corpse. I nod, my heart racing, but it's not triumph, it's purpose. Cleveland's skyline stands stark against the evening sky, its towers unbowed, like the woman I'm becoming. I fought battles in courtrooms, raised a son through grief, and built a life from ashes. Ethan thought he could erase me, steal my savings, and leave me to rot. He's about to learn what happens when you cross a woman who's lost everything but her fight. This isn't just a lawsuit, it's a reckoning, and I'm the one calling the shots. The newspaper headline, "Cleveland Broker Caught in Fraud Scandal," still burns in my mind as I step into the courtroom, its polished wood and leather scent grounding me like an old friend. Cleveland's morning sun streams through tall windows, casting golden streaks across the gallery where I sit, my hands steady despite the storm of emotions within. The article I fed to Sarah, exposing Ethan's forged signatures and stolen $800,000, has gutted Harper Realty. Clients have fled, the real estate board revoked his license, and social media is a firestorm of Harper scam rage. Ethan's desperate plea, "Mom, you've ruined me," rings hollow after he called me a burden and locked me in that shithole nursing home. Today, I'm here to reclaim what's mine, not just my savings, but the strength he thought he'd stolen. Claire, my old law firm ally, stands at the podium, her voice a scalpel slicing through Ethan's defenses. She lays out the evidence: my contract's ironclad clause, Mrs. Delgado's damning testimony, bank records showing my $800,000 funneled into Ethan's condo. He sits across the room, his suit crumpled, eyes sunken, no trace of the smug CEO who sneered at me in the nursing home lounge. I see him at 8, clutching daisies for my birthday, his grin brighter than the sun. The memory cuts like a blade, but I push it down. That boy is gone, replaced by a man who betrayed everyone who trusted him, starting with me. The judge's gavel cracks, and her ruling echoes. Ethan must repay $800,000, plus interest, and Harper Realty's assets will be liquidated to cover debts. The air shifts, lighter, as if a chain around my heart is snapped. I've won, not just the money, but my dignity, my fight, myself. I step outside, Cleveland's autumn breeze sharp and clean, the Cuyahoga River glinting under the noon sun. The nursing home's bleach-soaked walls feel like a bad dream, one I've finally woken from. I breathe deeply, the first time in months without a knot in my chest. Ethan thought he could erase me, but I'm the one standing tall, my fire unquenched. I use the recovered funds to start Silver Justice, a nonprofit to teach older women how to protect their assets from scams like Ethan's. Lily, my fierce ally with the nose ring, jumps in as coordinator, her energy lighting up our first workshop at a community center. The room smells of fresh paint, its windows framing the city's skyline, a world away from the nursing home's despair. I move into a small apartment by the river, its hardwood floors warm under my feet, sunlight spilling across my books. I start teaching free legal clinics, showing women how to read contracts, spot fraud, and fight back. Each session is a reclamation, a piece of myself I thought Ethan had taken. Weeks later, Silver Justice hosts its first public event, the community center buzzing with women, widows, retirees, mothers, eager to learn. I'm mid-speech, explaining how to spot a bad deal, when the door swings open. Ethan walks in, gaunt and unshaven, his eyes heavy with exhaustion. The room falls silent as he steps to the mic, his voice cracking. "Mom, I'm sorry," he says, loud enough for all to hear. "I hurt you, and I'll never forgive myself." I see him at 14, building a birdhouse in our garage, asking if I'd always be proud of him. The memory aches, a dull throb, but I don't waver. I've carried him too long, through grief, through sacrifices only to be discarded. I step forward, my voice calm but unyielding. "You've got to fix yourself, Ethan," I say, holding his gaze. "I'm your mother. but I'm not your savior." The crowd watches, breathless, as he nods, tears streaming, and leaves. My heart twists, but it's not the raw agony of betrayal anymore. It's the ache of letting go, of choosing myself. I turn back to the audience, their faces mirroring my strength, and finish my speech. The room crackles with energy, like a spark catching kindling. I've reclaimed my money, my life, my power. Ethan's empire is dust, his lies laid bare, his regret a public confession. I stand by my apartment window that night, the river reflecting Cleveland's lights, their glow steady and unyielding. I think of the nursing home, its suffocating walls where Ethan tried to bury me, and how it became the crucible that forged me anew. I see him at 16 crying on our couch after a breakup, asking if I'd always have his back. I did, until he stabbed me in mine. But that pain has shaped me, not broken me. Cleveland's skyline stands firm, a testament to the woman I've become, a lawyer, a survivor, a force. This victory isn't just mine. It's a promise to every woman in that room, to myself, that we are never too broken to rise. The Cuyahoga River shimmers under Cleveland's twilight, its surface catching the city's lights like scattered stars. I stand at my apartment window, a mug of chamomile tea warming my hands, its steam curling in the cool evening air. 6 months have passed since the courtroom triumph, since I reclaimed my $800,000 and watched Ethan's Harper Realty collapse under the weight of his lies. His broken apology at Silver Justice's first event, "Mom, I'm sorry," still echoes, a faint whisper of the boy I once knew. The nursing home's oppressive walls, reeking of bleach and despair, are a distant memory, but they're the crucible that forged me anew. I'm no longer the mother Ethan tried to bury. I'm Evelyn Harper, and from the wreckage of his betrayal, I've built a legacy that burns brighter than any pain he inflicted. Silver Justice is alive, a beacon for women like me, older, underestimated, but unbreakable. Born from the money I fought to reclaim, it's empowered over 60 women to protect their assets, to stand tall against fraud and betrayal. I teach classes in a community center, its walls painted bright, sunlight streaming through wide windows, a stark contrast to the nursing home's gloom. Last week, a 72-year-old widow named Margaret clasped my hand after a workshop, her eyes brimming with tears. "You gave me the tools to stop my cousin from stealing my pension," she said, her voice steady with newfound strength. My heart swelled, a warmth I hadn't felt since Ethan ran to me with daisies as a boy. Her gratitude, their courage, is my victory made flesh, not just over Ethan, but over every doubt he planted in me. My apartment is a haven now, its hardwood floors gleaming, bookshelves lined with legal texts and novels I finally have time to read. The river outside reflects Cleveland's skyline, its steel towers standing firm against the dusk. I think of Ethan at 12, sketching houses in our living room, his dreams of building something lasting. I see him at 15, laughing as we baked cookies, flour dusting his cheeks. Those memories used to cut like shards of glass, reminders of the son who stole my savings and called me a burden. Now they're softened, like scars that ache but no longer bleed. Ethan's in therapy, scraping by on part-time work, his letter of apology folded in a drawer I rarely touch. I forgave him, but I meant what I said. He must rebuild himself. I've carried him long enough. Silver Justice is more than a program. It's a movement. Lily, my fierce ally with the nose ring, runs our workshops with a passion that mirrors mine. Yesterday, we held a seminar, the room packed with women in their 60s and 70s, their notebooks open as I explained how to spot financial scams. A woman named Ellen stood up, her voice shaking but resolute, sharing how she used our lessons to block her brother from draining her savings. The room erupted in applause, and I felt it. A surge of pride, not for Ethan, but for these women, for myself. We're not victims. We're architects of our own futures, building from the ruins of betrayal. I catch my reflection in the window, my gray hair glowing in the twilight, and see a woman who's reclaimed her fire. The pain of Ethan's betrayal lingers, a quiet bruise that flares when I think of his voice. Crazy old hag, or the nursing home's suffocating walls. But it's no longer a prison. That shithole was my breaking point, the place where I rediscovered my strength. I fought in courtrooms, raised a son through loss, and survived a husband's death. Ethan thought he could erase me, but he only sharpened my edges. Every class I teach, every woman I empower is a brick in a legacy he can't touch. Cleveland's skyline stands unyielding outside, a mirror of the resolve I've forged. This city, with its grit and heart, taught me to rise, to fight, to win. I set my mug down, the river's glow steady below. I think of Margaret, Ellen, and the countless women who've found their voices through silver justice. I think of the nursing home, where Ethan tried to bury me, and how it became the spark that set me free. My legacy isn't just for me. It's for every woman told she's too old, too weak, too broken. We're not. We're a force, a fire that burns through betrayal. Your worth isn't in what they take. It's in what you build from the ashes. I'm Evelyn Harper, and I've turned my pain into power, my loss into a movement. This is my story, my legacy, and it's only the beginning. Thank you for walking this journey with me, through the pain, the fight, and the fire that brought me back to myself. Ethan's betrayal tried to break me, but it built me stronger, and I hope my story sparks something in you. Have you ever faced a betrayal that made you question your worth? Share your thoughts below. Your voice matters. I'm grateful to each of you who listened, who felt this with me. Let's keep these stories alive. I'll see you again soon, ready to fight another day.